Hi, good morning. I'm getting ready to go live. Well, actually going live, and we're going to be finishing up Francie's African American bathing suit. So, in the meantime, people do start to come. I will get started and have the pre recorded available for view later on today. So, this is Francie. As you can see, it looks like she's done, but what I've done is preset it and I basted the top. And we're going to get situated here in with the sewing. So I'm going to try to set it as close as possible. I did see my other video where it did seem far away and I can't adjust it. And I am starting at 7:30 to see if I do get some better lighting. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to adjust it. Here's our Francie. And that gives me much better lighting, which I do like and enjoy. So now we're gonna go ahead and I'll show you how I have her set. And this is a much nicer view. So I have her set with pins, as you can see here, holding her together. So I'm going to be taking them apart and getting her ready to start sewing. This should be rather quickly because most of the work has already been done. Yesterday I basted the top and I went ahead and sewed the shorts together in the front, and all we have here are little sets of pins holding the top together. So when you're ready to cross the finish line, that's where we're at right now. And I'm trying to talk in a much lower voice because I am finding that it is coming out, my voice that is, really loud. So asking for Francie to let go. And this is what I did. I connected the front. And what I'm going to be doing here is sewing the bottom. So I'm going to give it a little bit of cutting in the middle, on the edges. And I have a good idea of cutting it so that I can have a little bit of an ease here. Just trying to wait until we can focus. Just ever so slightly. And I was watching my video, particularly the one where I do the vest for the 17 or 18-inch Superstar Barbie and the uh, Tuesday Taylor doll. And I did notice, trying to get a view of it as a viewer. So I'm going to be going much slower because I think that the people that are watching are people that don't know necessarily how to sew. So if I go fast, or fast as I was, it was not going to be much help. So now what I'm going to do is baste it. And in order for our viewers to see, I'm going to be using red thread so that we can see where the work is going. So this is what I mean about basting. I get the material and I start sewing with the needle and thread and hold it into place. So we are actually going to get the real and full effect of doing an African American bathing suit. And if you have the In Blooms material, it's a very slinky material. Uh, I guess that would be the best description. It's a slinky material, and yes, from the 60s, and used a lot in the 70s for those disco shirts for men. Not sure about the women because I'm going off of memory of who used that material, and it was mainly the men with their shirts, and I guess women too, but I just can't remember. I'm just going to give it a little knot there. So I'm going ahead and basting, and this does take a while here. So we're halfway done one side and continuing on the other, and you can see right there where um, the little cutting was at. And when I sew this, I'm going to try this on Francie to make sure that she has enough room in the legs because um, unless you have a a standard or not a bend leg, Francie, it does hold. I'm having trouble here. I didn't put the knot there, but we're having a little bit of trouble here. There. Oh, I must have had the knot. I'm pulling as much as. So here we go. It's basted. You can see the red, and what I'm going to do is just sew along. Now I'm going to continue on the other side. And if you're going to be doing this with a needle and thread, this is what you're already going to be doing. There is a little knot over here that I couldn't take from the original sewing that we're just going to over bend it here, overfold. So here we go. We're going to get started and just follow the little the fold area, and just one by one. And what I'm doing with my thumb as I go along, I fold it like you see here, and where the needle is at, I go ahead and sew it. So now with the machine, it's gathered, and I'm going to loosen it up a bit and take a look. Oh, it just fell. Take a look at what the basting is like on the other side. And this is, for us right now, this is only temporary. As I pull it along, and that's what I'm doing here. And I have this much left in here. Trying to pull it along, but I might just leave it there. Because I think within the thread there's a little knot because I just went through it again. That little problem. And I'm using my thumb as a little gauge where I'm at now in the middle. So I didn't go all the way through over here, but I'll use that part as a fold. Cut it and get started. So always being mindful to know where the pins are. Put it in the pin cushion because they always have a nasty habit of walking and getting stuck, and accidents happen. And here is the top. And for the top, as you can see here, it has a natural fold where it used to be before on Barbie. So we're going to use the natural fold and then just fold this one. So we'll do the pants first and get a lot closer. And I cannot zoom in when I'm going live. So that's one of the many drawbacks about doing live. So I'm going ahead and I am sewing. Today I started at 7:30 wanting to get the, let me see here, wanting to get the morning light, but I'm not necessarily getting it today. It's very overcast. I don't think you want to see the clouds. Let me know in the comments if you want to ever see how the outside is outside my window. But it's overcast this morning, and it is staying that way because there's a lot of clouds out there. So as I go over here, I am going at a very slow pace because we're sewing right at the fold, and I didn't get that much. But we're done with one, basically. And I'm stopping and looking to make sure that I am getting the fabric sewn and not sewing air. So this is the basting. So what over here, I have this little piece turning. What I'm going to do when I'm done, it's just get a needle and thread, as you see here. This one, it always happens. Just get a needle and thread and sew it in, and you will not even notice after. It's just holding it in place. And now we're going to be doing the other side. I'm going to hold it down here on the curve. And I am sewing it, like I mentioned, right at the edge. I'm going to take my camera and show you. See where the fabric is? I'm literally sewing right on the edge and getting that close sewing. And that was me just literally putting it right on its face there. And we'll take a look at it now. Okay. You basically almost can't see it because of the basting. So this is a perfect time to take the basting out. There's no need for it. There's no use to have it. So I took one, I snapped it, and it's just as easy as holding the tip and pulling it out. So the basting is out there, and I'm going to do the same on the other. And that is our turn right here. I could go ahead and sew this part in and see how close I am. I literally need to, I'm going to give it a try. Okay. It's still there, so what I'm going to do is take the threading out, because if it's not, well, it is helping just a bit, but not what we need. So I'm going to cut the thread and take it out later on. There. So we did the sewing of the shorts. I connected the two pieces, did a straight stitch right there, and we're going to take the top and we're going to align it to see how we're doing with the spacing. So here's the top, there's the sheer part, and I'm going along because we're going to still sew the fold on the top. And we have this much left, and this is for the double fold that's going to take place. So we're going to leave this to the side and start with the sewing of the tube top. So going ahead and fold it that much right there, and just sew it through. So basically what you want to do, if you want to do this at home, is get yourself a pattern of some shorts, and I am working on getting my own pattern. So basically this is 1 inch, or just slightly an inch and an eighth right here, one little bit over an inch, and this is a leftover piece. And let me measure it here too. Right here. And we'll sew it. There's a little bit of a gash, but you won't be able to see it. It's going to be on the inside, but better to do the trimming after than before, because as you'll see over there, I need that extra material in the inside to sew. So we're going to sew this through. There's that little part that was sticking out. And for your sewing machine, you might want to do more than an inch because, as I mentioned, my footer is very small. All right, I started going sideways here towards the end, trying to get the fabric. There we go. My footer is very small, so you might want to get a little bit more than an inch. Okay. There's a stitch there, and we're going to do the other side. The other side, like I mentioned, already has a little fold, and we're just going to sew along. And the tube top is going to be done. And what I do when I put it together, I do a little bit of hand stitching to keep it into place, because if you see any pictures of the vintage American, African American Francie, you'll see that it falls over, it slouches over. So here's our top. So now it's time to connect the top, well, to connect the bottom with the top. And since it's very sheer, got to be very careful to have the front of the material, the front connecting the front, or the outside fabric. So let's call this the outside fabric, what we would be seeing, and the fabric facing the outside. This is a vintage, so it does have little spots. And put it, I'm going to move it here and face it like that. This is the outside, which is very hard to see. It's even hard for me to see. And this is the outside. So what you're going to be looking at is the inside sewing part. So that's how much room I have there, and no room there. So what I'm going to do now is put it right in the middle. So I'm moving it here. Like I said, it's not my best lighting, but you'll be able to see more of what I'm doing here. So I'm going to get it and use my pin to hold it into place. And what I'm doing is leaving some room. And I'm going to fold open the area. Hold it into place and check to see how well I did here, because I am going to need fabric to fold, and it's going to be tight, it's going to be good. So I'm going to fold it here, and as a reminder, I am using vintage fabric, vintage Barbie fabric, and I am taking what I was able to get to piece it together. I have some videos in when I did the sheer. Oh no, I did like a little short, and I put all the videos. This is not a good pin because I feel it tugging on the material. You have to get very sharp needles because you don't want to move. So I put all the listings of when I cut the In Blooms material. I went in length to show the vintage fabric in blooms, and I went in length to show where I was positioning the fabric pieces, so that so I knew, so I knew I was going to be able to have the pattern pieces that I needed. And I went in length to show how the pieces looked right after I cut them. So I am leaving a little bit of green. Let's see. I want to see if this is a good angle for you. I did go, like I mentioned, I did go in length to get the pieces that I needed. And it was a very tight planning so that I could get these. But if you're going to be using regular material, um, right off the shelf or what you have, which is always fun, I do have African American Francie bathing suits listed for sale, uh, giving it that little mod wavy look. And if you're going to be doing it, that's always fun. All right, so taking a breather. We're almost done, so letting you see. This is what it looks like. So next thing to do, since this is a very sheer material, is number one, showing you here, it has a lot of little loose ends. So get all the loose ends out, all the little threads, because what we're going to do next is sew it into place. And what I mean by that is sew it down. Okay, right there. Because if you don't, this is what you're going to get. If you don't sew it down, you're always going to be getting this. So we're going to fold it over. I have the sheer part under, and ever so closely sew right at the top. And this is the back part. This is the fun part. This is in the back, the front part of in blooms. I'm sewing it in the middle now. And we're going to the back. And we're not going to sew the folds of the sheer material, not until we put the tube top. And we're going to be holding that with a pin. So here is our sewing of the pants with the top. And we're going to be coming here to the side so that we can see Francie. Wearing this piece here. And the other part that I want to do is so that I know where to put the tube top. So I'm going to hold it with the pin. Right there. And know where the connection is going to be. Right there is where we're going to sew. Sorry. And the tube top needs to be right there. So what I'm going to do real quick is put a pin of where the tube top needs to be. Because if you don't do this, then we're going to be having the tube top being in a different area that's not going to help our design. Sorry, this is one very tricky design, and my hats to everybody that does this as a custom made. It is not a very easy task to do. Let me see here. Because you literally are working. So with sheer material and positioning it. So I just positioned it. Here's my little gauge of where it needs to be. And I'm going to pin it down again. And this is the part that I was saying that I'm going to save it, the sides when I'm going to do the fold. So I'm going to get the pin that I and put it here. Okay. I keep on changing it because of the lighting. The clouds are coming and going, and I do have the inside light on. So I'm going to sew it into place only here. And let me tell you before you get started, this material moves when you breathe. I am not kidding. So I'm making sure I get every little piece in there and do it slowly. If you want to baste it, that would be a great idea. But for the purpose of being live and not boring you, I'm doing it with the slow handle in the sewing machine. So we have a little bit extra here on this side, and you don't want to pull it. You don't want to stretch it because that's going to harm the look on the inside. And we have more than enough material on the side. So it's not that you want to connect the two pieces together. We're going to fold this part anyways. Okay, that was a tiny little pin. Okay, so you do need to have a Francie doll if you're going to be sewing this, because you need to constantly measure it on her body. And now what we're going to do is get that little pin and hold it. And this way I'm going to go from up to down. And like I said, get a very sharp pin so it does not leave a hole and it does not damage. Okay, so now we're going to do the sides here as if you were going to put a snap in there. But we're just going to leave a side because we're going to connect the bottom from here to here. We just need to have this part held. And it's just a little bit that you want. And we're not going to double sew it when we're sewing the sheer part. This is going to be a very lengthy tutorial because there's a lot of intricate little parts in here. This is a great time to sew the piece, the leftover piece here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I am taking the sheer part. I'm not taking anything from the fabric because you need some pull, you need some heaviness so that it can stay down. Besides the sewing, because it can always fold up, and you don't want that. Okay, so we sewed that part, and we're going to sew this one here, just a tiny bit. And right now it's a good part to from here to here. It's a good time to do the sewing from here to there. And when I'm done, I'm going to take all those tiny little pieces of thread out because we have a lot of folds in here and a lot of pieces of material. So I was very careful not to cut into the sheer material in the front. So I just cut the little pieces. I folded the material, and I'm going to cut out the excess here. And I have to do it because it's going to accumulate. And you just have to be very careful not to cut the front, as I was doing right there. Okay. I'm going to leave this part loose like this until I try it on Francie. So I'm going to move all the little leftover threading, and we're going to bring Francie here to try her on. Try it on her. And then we're going to do another testing to make sure we have the position for the. Okay, we're right here. What we're doing is trying on the top. Okay, we're going to connect the pants together. Our bathing suit is taking form. And after we're done, we're still going to be doing adjustments because we have a floating tube top that we need to help. So I'm going to connect it ever so lightly, give it all the room that it needs on the sides and on the middle. So here's the connecting of the pants. And I'm going to go at it this way because, like I mentioned, I'm using leftover material. We have a problem here. What is it? We have like plain thread here. Okay. Here. The thread just got, okay, so I'm positioning back. I feel a sneeze coming, so excuse me. Oh, excuse me. And we have the back sewn, and I have some excess in the front, so I'm just going to connect it even tighter here in the front. And when I'm done, I'm going to cut the residue. So this is the part where I'm going to just barely get the connection in here so that I can try it on Francie. And I take a look in the back to make sure that our front and our back are equal on the leg part. I'm going to sew it once because I need to test it to make sure that it could fit through Francie's legs. So if it doesn't fit Francie's legs, I'm going to take it apart and then re-sew it and give it a little bit higher to have more room. So let's give it a try. And if it is the case that I need more room for Francie, I will give this a try on straight leg Francie. And give you a little visual. So let's try this on regular Francie. When I mean regular, I'll say bend leg. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I was sewing so close that some of the material was showing on the flip part. So I'm always careful about that because I make these patterns just so that they fit them. And you might need to, for these bend leg dolls, just so that you don't stretch the material, is give it a little, okay, I'm going to put it here. Just give it a little tug. Okay. I'm going to position it so that we can see her top. And what I'm going to do now is work on the straps. I'm going to move her arms forward. This is a very lengthy process for these bathing suits, as you can see. Oh, that's very bad lighting. And I'm very sorry for all the movement. But we are having a lot to do off the regular position of straight sewing. There is a lot of stop. There's a lot of stop and measuring. And it's always the case and the assumption that the little things like a bathing suit or just any little thing are the easiest, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. So I'm just going to put this to the side because my camera can stay there. Sorry for that. But I'm going to position, and this is what Francie right now looks like. I could move her up, and I need to move her up because we need to get this position. So what I'm doing now is positioning. I'm just having a very bad lighting day. And if you can bear with me, because I am a beginner and I definitely need the lighting and all. But if I wait for it, it would take me a couple of years. So hopefully you're growing with me as my channel grows and as my income grows. I have the knowledge, but I do not have the money. So that's the case with a lot of us. And if I had the money, I would be working at a daily job and I would not be doing this. So it is definitely a catch-22. So it just is what it is. Just inching my way with my craft, what I know and what I can show you. And I'll be doing this as long as I can because I may need to, and I am looking for a job. So I'll have these videos here as the time that I had to be able to do it. Okay, so there we go. We have positioned with the pins, and I am going to get to sewing. And in the back, it looks loose, but I'm holding it right now. Once I put a snap in there, that is what it's going to look. And even in the Francie, the African American, it will be looking loose. So we're going to get started with the sewing here. So just being careful to take the pin that I need to take. And I'm going to be taking it off again. And it's inside out. So now we're going to be sewing the strap, and I have a visual of where it needs to be. And this is a very, I could sew it by hand, but that takes as you can see, it takes a while. And I will secure it after the video. I will secure it by hand. Take that little excess out. And I'll take that excess out after I'm positive that this is a good fit. And then I'm going to take it from here, put my thumb, and reset it here. And since I am taking it at an angle of my sewing that I'm not comfortable with, I am going to pin it together because of how the sewing machine is going to be positioned with this piece. I'm getting all the fabric in here. All right, time to take this out. So for the sake of doing this quickly, I'm going to get my straight leg Francie, and I'm just going to pull this up on her. And one of my sewing hacks is, where's my thread here? Okay, I'm getting my thread here. One of my sewing hacks in this African American is right where we have the armpit. I'm going to lift this up right where the armpit is at, and I'm going to sew this into place. Nobody's going to see it, but only I know it's there, and this is going to help to hold it into place. I just lost my needle. Okay, I'm going to do the knot, and I'm going to do the other one. And I'm going to give me my little knot here. Okay, I'm going to do one side, and I'm going to do the middle. And this is going to be ever so gently into place because it is in the middle. And what I'm going to do here is knot it together. I have it on the floor, so I'm doing a little knot. And I'm going to leave enough thread. I'm going to leave enough thread so that later I knot these two pieces together. So I only did one side. And I'm going to put this on close camera, and you will not even be able to see the work that I just did, but it is holding it in place. So I did one side of the little stitchy part in there, and I am whipping this on very quickly on my straight leg Francie, and it does fit, as you saw, it does fit snug, but it does fit nicely on the regular Francie. And just for the sake and purpose to finish this tutorial, I'm going to put this on this Francie, and then just do the other arrangements, like putting the snap in there and putting the snaps in the back. So we have some loose threads in the inside, and I'll show you the back. I'm going to connect it with little pins so it doesn't take too much from your visual. This is the back, and this is the Francie front. And I do have loose threads in there that I'm going to connect right now. Not the greatest day for light, and not the greatest but in a nutshell, it literally takes over an hour, because the top takes a lengthy amount of time to do the stitching and to do the cutting and preparing of the see-through material, and the preparing to get the pieces from Vintage Barbie is a lengthy process, as I know and remember. But if you're going to be using vintage Barbie fabrics, it's going to be lengthy to make sure you get the best pieces available. So here we are, folks. I'm going to stop it here and do the little arrangements and do the snaps later on. So thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and for commenting. Be safe, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.